Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZKast from ZK Research. It's RSA week, so I'm in San Francisco. I'm actually at the AWS headquarters. I'm with Chris Betz. You're the CISO for AWS.
Correct. It's great to be here.
Yeah. What's that job entail? That sounds like a big job.
It keeps me busy. No, it means that I'm responsible for making sure that our customers are secure when they're operating on top of AWS. And so it involves everything from people to physical security and everything in between. And it's a lot of fun. I've got a great team that supports me.
Well, that's a lot of customers on a lot of different products.
Well, I came from being a customer. Yeah. In fact, that was my last role. I was a CISO at a financial institution, and while I was there, we closed our last data center and moved completely onto AWS. And so that's actually part of what brought me here is my having experienced that deep trust in AWS that I needed to have, and wanting to be part of making sure that all of our customers can trust AWS in that way.
Oh, that's a great background then. Now we're going to be talking about security for AI agents, which is an interesting topic because, let's face it, AI agents aren't all that old, but they are of great interest to everybody. And so before we start talking about the security, where are we with agents? Are customers, do you see them like rapidly adopting these things? Are they kicking the tires? Is this like proof of concept phase?
I'm seeing the whole spectrum. Okay. There are certainly some organizations that are far ahead. There are other organizations that are just experimenting right now. When I think about what an AI agent is, there's a lot of different definitions out there, but the short version that I tend to use is when it goes beyond sending a prompt and getting a response from an AI system to in fact making that AI system a tool user, something where it goes and takes a set of actions on your behalf, it comes back to you. And we've certainly launched a number of them here at Amazon, some of them out of AWS, and we're seeing a bunch of companies also experiment with them, certainly in the security space. Yeah. There's a lot on the show floor already this week.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the big use cases for it is a SOC assistant. I've always seen it in customer service. So it's quite a few, I don't want to call them low-hanging fruit use cases, but early adopter, I suppose, use cases of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there are. I think of it like those cases where you want where there's a task that's relatively well understood, and you want to enable people to do their job better and faster. What I love about the security world is that we are surrounded by smart people who love to solve hard problems, and AI agents are a way to make sure that computers can even do more of solving the easy to handle problems, so that the people get the really interesting problems to solve.
Yeah. Now I was actually at a CI roundtable a little while ago. We were talking about how this is the last generation of business leaders and IT leaders that will manage a human-only workforce, right? So we're going to mix people, we're going to mix AI agents in there. What are some of the risks of doing that, though, of bringing these AI agents into the workplace?
I think there's a few things that are very important to do when you're building an AI agent to make sure you get right. The first one is keep the authorization and authentication, that identity piece, out of band from the agent communication itself. It's important for a number of reasons: hallucinations, preventing people from doing prompt injection and other things, but making sure that you're authorizing the agent to work and that exists out of band from the communication of the agent in and of itself. The second thing that I think is really important for those AI agents is observability. It's one of the things that you and I enjoy when we ask somebody to do work. Hey, we got an answer that came back. We want to understand that answer. We want to go look through what were the things. We ask the person, how did you arrive at this conclusion? You want to be able to ask the agent the same thing, both for security reasons, because it's really important to understand what actions it took on your behalf, but also just for practical reasons. If you understand how something or somebody arrived at a conclusion, it gives you an idea of whether this was the right conclusion or not. A third thing that I'd talk about is, because you're using this as an agent and it's coming back to you with data as an LLM, you should treat that input just like you got it from a human agent. One of the things that we all learn programming, at least early in our programming days, is to treat human input as untrusted. Yep. It can be wrong, it can have errors. You want to treat AI input as the same thing. The AI agent comes back, treat it as untrusted input, make sure that you're verifying it correctly. And then as a last thought, I would give you that security testing is really important, not just once, not just twice, but this field is moving so fast, you really want to make sure we're testing security all the time and very frequently.
Yeah, those are some good points, because actually I think we probably give our AI agents a little more leeway than we do people, right? People, we put through scrutiny, like you said, you authenticate them, but with AI agents sometimes, I think people have had such a good experience with some of the early use of generative AI, you almost take it for gospel that it's true, and that you shouldn't do that. Yeah.
Well, I think you're bringing up a really important point. When you bring in an AI agent and you're using an AI agent, you should bring just the same way you bring skepticism to hiring a person or asking for a person's background. Go work with that vendor. Understand how they do the agent. Understand how they set the right constraints. Understand how they transition data in and out, how they protect your data. And so working with a vendor partner, whether it's with an AI agent or in general, does involve a two-way conversation, and that's super important. That will be important here for AI agents, just like it is for human beings.
There's some interesting implications here too, because I think if you think historically about security in the workplace, business leaders and a lot of users, in fact, often don't like security because it kind of gets in the way. Right? Like you're ready to roll out an application, got to do all the security stuff first, or all the compliance stuff. If you've got this underlying foundation in place and this methodology for making sure agents are secure, now you can actually bring in agents quickly, right? And not worry so much about the security. I'm not saying don't worry about the security, but that foundation in place will make sure that that communication is secure, it's being used properly, and you don't have to go through the painstaking process of being ready to go, but then yet having to do another overlay of security on top of it. You could actually use security as a business accelerant in some cases.
I think security has to be a business accelerant.
It's never been in the past, though.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. Yeah. I've seen organizations that have been able to make it as a business advantage. I think AWS is one where we've seen being secure leads to customer trust, and that customer trust means that our business can go faster. Now, what's really key, and I think one of the things that AWS did well, was building security in from the early parts, so it doesn't end up like you talk about, right before release, all of a sudden, slow things down and do security. It's about building security consistently throughout, and what you just talked about with AI agents is just a great proof point on how getting that security foundation set early and often is an incredible part of where we need to go.
Yeah, and I think, and I would say that the AWS is maybe more the exception than the norm. Part of that is because you do have a very tightly integrated engineering team and security team. And so how do you see that manifesting itself in general enterprises where historically the security team has, in a lot of companies, and your customers too, right, been siloed?
Yeah. Well, and this is one of, I think, the biggest challenges for security in general is making sure that we have the right leaders who understand the business, invest deeply, and provide the right solutions. That isn't to say security's free, because it isn't. But for so many businesses, trust is a critical part of their products, of what they sell. Whether that's a financial institution, a technology company, a security company, what customers want is not just a solution. They want a trustworthy solution. And so our job as security leaders is to make sure our products are trustworthy and trusted. And building the right relationship with the business that helps them achieve trustworthy and trusted products faster is incredibly important. And I think that's certainly the challenge for my generation of security leaders, but I think it's going to be just as important, if not more important, for the generations that are yet to come.
Yeah, that'd be a big shift in mindset. And so for companies out there that are looking to leverage the power of agents, and let's face it, every organization is going to have them eventually, what are some steps they should go through? And I know you highlighted some, but if give a couple of pieces of advice on how to do this so they can make sure that the deployments are secure, but they can still go ahead and enjoy all the benefits of it.
So first of all, pick a right partner. It's very important to if you're not building the agent yourself, pick a partner that is trusted, that is trustworthy. Make sure you've spent the time understanding how they approach things. Second thing is make sure that you understand the data. you want to make sure that you understand what data is being provided to and accessed by the agent, and whether that data is that it comes back with should be accessed by the user that it's being given back to. And so it's understanding the data end to end is incredibly important. And the last thing is take a hard look at how you authorize the agent to do work. Making sure that you give it the right permissions for the task that you're giving it, not too much and not too little. And for the most sophisticated people, consider an observer model. Consider a model that looks at what actions the agent's taking and says, are these sensible and right? And so at least some of the more sophisticated agent providers have that oversight piece, which helps reduce the chances that something happens in an unusual way, and helps make sure that we've got the right solution with the right kind of controls.
All right, and just one last question. When you think about the future, how do you see the agents evolving? Are we going to have like one agent to rule them all? Are we going to have, I've heard the phrase Internet of Agents as they talk to each other. I talked to one CIO, and he said he envisions a world where workers just have this tapestry of agents and they tap into them and they need them. But I'm not sure workers want to use 50 applications, 50 agents, right? So how does this manifest itself, do you think?
Yeah. It's hard to read.
Yeah, and maybe it's all the above, right?
My guess is we're going to be somewhere between the two extremes. We all know that how many single panes of glass we've heard about in the security space, and I've yet to see a true single pane of glass. But my guess is we're going to find there's something in between. There's a set of things of agents that are very good at a set of tasks, and you're going to go use them for that set of tasks. But there's probably not one agent that's universally good at all tasks, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's in fact expected and useful.
Yeah, I just worry sometimes that this industry loves to like jump on trends, right? And then we're gonna have an agent for everything, and then it creates an unusable workforce. But I do think eventually that problem will be solved. I am maybe a fan of the concept of Internet of Agents where they talk to each other, but I think we're a long way from having any standards that's actually gonna make that work properly. So,
though I think there's some interesting standards that are starting to come out. MCP released late last year. There's a bunch of different standards that I think are starting to head us in that direction. So I'm excited to see where it's gonna go.
All right, anything else you want to add?
One last thing, and I think you're going to be there, but I'm looking forward to seeing you and many folks at Reinforce in July, because RSA is a great time period, but at Reinforce is going to be a great time to go much deeper in cloud security and AWS security in particular.
All right, well, on behalf of Chris Betz from AWS, I'm ZS Caravallo from CK Research, and thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on my next episode of ZKast. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks.